My parents, without my knowledge, took out a $3 million life insurance policy in my name. That weekend, my father, for the first time ever, took me fishing. He even bought me a hot dog, a rare treat usually reserved for my sister. He knelt down to straighten my collar, his voice heavy. "Anna, please don't blame your dad," he said. "Your sister needs to study abroad, and we just can't afford it. Think of this as helping the family one last time. It'll be like falling asleep. You won't feel a thing." The moment his words sank in, he shoved me into the reservoir behind us. Cold, icy water surged into my nose and mouth. I couldn't swim. Panic seized me, and I thrashed wildly, my arms and legs flailing in a desperate struggle. On the bank, my father watched with an indifferent gaze, like he was observing some helpless insect. My mother checked her phone as if noting the time, and my sister, Karen, fussed with her lipstick in a compact mirror. "Dad, why is she taking so long? What if someone sees?" My mother's voice was calm, almost clinical. "Don't worry. No one comes here at this hour. An adult takes 3 to 5 minutes to drown. A child will be even faster." My father nodded, his tone cold. "We'll wait a little longer. Once she's gone, we'll call it an accident." My strength ebbed, vision blurred. All of this, for my sister to attend a prestigious boarding school in England, with tuition costing $1 million a year. And the life insurance? My parents were the beneficiaries. The hot dog I had never been allowed before was my last meal. The first time my father called me sweetheart was to send me to my death. Horror and hatred filled me as my lungs burned. Just as consciousness began slipping away, a blinding light cut through the darkness. A voice thundered across the water. "What the hell? Who's over there?"
"Crew."
"Where's the crew? Is someone in the water? Get them out now." I heard my family shouting, panicked. "Someone's here. Let's go." Then a splash. Strong arms grabbed me, pulling me up. The last thing I saw before the darkness receded was a young man in a black t-shirt, his face etched with fear and urgency. When I woke, I was in a van designed for celebrities. A dried jacket smelling faintly of tobacco was draped over me. A woman with perfect makeup and a stylish haircut gently toweled my hair. "You're awake. How are you feeling?" she asked. My throat burned. I could barely speak. She handed me a glass of warm water. "Take it slow. You swallowed a lot of water." I took small sips, taking in my surroundings. Beside the woman, a man with silver hair leaned against the window, absorbed in his phone. He was handsomer than anyone I'd ever seen on screen. Behind the wheel sat a burly man with a buzz cut, brows drawn in a deep scowl, the man who had saved me. The van door slid open, and a middle-aged man with a scruffy beard and a wrinkled director's vest peered inside. "She's awake." The gruff voice was the same one I'd heard before I lost consciousness. Its owner, a man with a rugged face, looked me over with obvious impatience. "Hey, kid, where are your parents? What are you doing at the reservoir in the middle of the night? If you're thinking of ending it all, don't do it next to our film set. Bad luck for the crew." The elegant woman beside me shot him a sharp glare. "Director? She's just a child." The man, the director, clicked his tongue and pulled a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, but after glancing at me, shoved them back with a frustrated sigh. Fine. Faye, get her parents' number. Let's have them pick her up, so we can get back to filming." My parents' number. I began to shake uncontrollably. I couldn't go back. If I returned home, they'd finish what they started. Faye thought I was cold and wrapped the jacket tighter around me. Her voice softened. "Anna, right? We found your student ID in your pocket. Can you tell me your parents' phone number, sweetie?" I bit my lip and shook my head hard, tears streaming down my cheeks. I don't want to go home." The director's scowl deepened. "Oh, perfect. Now you're a problem? You think we can just keep you? This production is barely holding together as it is. We can't afford strays." The silver-haired man across the van finally set down his phone, his voice a lazy drawl. "Come on, Mark. Don't take it out on a kid." He walked over, kneeling to meet my eyes. "Hey, little one. Did you have a fight with your parents? Running away won't fix it. How about I take you home?" I flinched, sobbing, and buried my face against Faye's side. "I didn't run away. I just fell in by accident. My parents, they don't know I'm here." I couldn't tell them the truth. They were strangers. Why would they believe my parents tried to murder me? If they sent me back, it would be a death sentence. I had to lie. The director, Mark, eyed me suspiciously. "You fell in by yourself? Then where are your parents?" I clutched the hem of the jacket, staring at the floor. They work a lot. I'm usually home alone. So, what were you doing at a remote reservoir at night? I heard it was pretty, so I wanted to see it. Even I could tell my story was full of holes. A child, alone, at a deserted reservoir in the middle of the night. It made no sense. Evan, the silver-haired man, just gave a small smile and said nothing. From the driver's seat, the burly man, Dex, glanced back at me, his voice low. Director, maybe we should call the police. Let them handle it. The police. They'd call my parents for sure. Panic surged through me. I grabbed Faye's arm, my voice breaking. No. Please, don't call the police. I'm begging you. My reaction startled the three men. They stared at me surprised. Faye rubbed my back gently. Okay, we won't call the police. Calm down. She looked up at Mark. Mark, look at her. She's terrified. Maybe we could let her stay here tonight and sort things out in the morning? Mark's brow furrowed so deeply, it looked like it could crush a fly. This is a film set, not an orphanage. But despite his words, he waved a dismissive hand and stepped out of the van.
Fine.
One night. But she's out tomorrow, you hear me? The door slid shut, sealing out the cold wind. Faye found me some clean clothes and poured a bowl of steaming porridge from a rice cooker.
Here, eat this. It'll warm you up.
The millet porridge was fragrant and creamy. Holding the warm bowl, tears welled up again. No one had made me porridge since my grandmother died. My mother always said cooking was a waste of time she could spend on her career. Our meals were always prepared by a part-time cleaner who only knew two dishes, stir-fried cabbage and boiled cabbage. Because Karen needed to watch her figure, my mother said cabbage was the best, and I had to eat what they ate. Faye, seeing me silently drinking the porridge, rummaged through her bag and pulled out a packet of teddy bear cookies. Not your liking? How about some cookies? I shook my head quickly and finished every last drop of porridge, even licking the bowl clean. It was delicious. Thank you, pretty lady. Faye smiled and stroked my hair. Silly girl. That night, I slept on the long bench in the van. It was cramped, but for the first time in years, I felt safe. But the feeling shattered the next morning. Raised voices outside woke me. I opened my eyes to see my parents and my sister standing just beyond the van's door. My mother clutched the director's arm, her face a mask of frantic worry, her voice trembling with sobs. Director, thank you so much for saving our Anna. We've been looking for her all night. My father stood beside her, eyes rimmed red, thanking them profusely. Karen, seeing I was awake, rushed to the door. Anna, how could you be so selfish? She cried loudly for everyone to hear. Just because you don't want me to go abroad, you'd threaten our parents by jumping into the water? Do you know how worried we were? My sister's words hit like a thunderclap, reverberating through the film crew. Everyone turned to look at me, their expressions sharp and judgmental. So, in their eyes, I was the evil sibling, so jealous that I'd fake a suicide attempt to manipulate my parents. Director Mark's face darkened instantly. Even Faye's brow furrowed, a flicker of disappointment crossing her features. I felt a chill creep through me, leaving me speechless. My mother climbed into the van and threw her arms around me. To anyone watching, it looked like a tender embrace, but hidden from view, her hand pinched the flesh of my lower back hard. Anna, you scared me. Let's go home. Whatever's going on, we can talk about it there. Don't trouble these kind people. The sharp pain made me gasp, and tears sprang to my eyes. Karen followed her in, linking her arm through mine with fake affection, her nails digging into my skin. She leaned close, whispering so only I could hear. You got lucky, Anna. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of ways to handle you at home. You'd better behave. Next time, it won't be as simple as a little push into a reservoir. I froze, paralyzed with fear. My legs wouldn't move. My father approached, a kind smile plastered on his face. I'm so sorry about all this, he said to the director. She's just a child, thoughtless as children are. We'll take her home now. He reached for my arm. I screamed, flinching back.
No.
I'm not going with you. My mother's face hardened, her voice sharp with threat. Anna, stop making a scene. Do you want me to hit you in front of everyone? My father lost patience. He grabbed me roughly, trying to drag me out of the van. Let's go. We'll see how to handle a thankless brat like you at home. The crew watched silently, no one stepping in. To them, this was just a family dispute, parents disciplining a disobedient child. Despair washed over me. I was going to die. Just as my feet touched the ground, as my parents prepared to shove me toward their car, a calm, controlled voice cut through the chaos. Wait. It was Evan, the silver-haired man. He leaned against the van door, casually dangling something from his fingers, a smirk playing on his lips as he looked at my father. Sir, before you go, perhaps you could explain this? My father followed his gaze, and his face drained of color. Evan was holding my father's car key, the one he had dropped by the reservoir the night before. Attached to it was a custom metal tag engraved with the words, "Wishing Karen a successful journey and a bright future abroad." Evan twirled the key between his fingers, a sly smile tugging at his lips. Your daughter, accidentally, falls into the water in the middle of the night. You spend hours searching for her. Yet, you don't notice dropping your car key at the scene? His gaze swept over my parents, then landed on Karen. His tone sharpened. And this inscription, wishing your daughter success in her studies abroad? He paused, letting the implication hang in the air. Not to mention, the $3 million life insurance policy seems to exactly cover those tuition fees, doesn't it? The moment he said life insurance policy, color drained from my parents' faces. My mother shrieked, "What are you talking about? What life insurance? We don't know anything about that." My father's voice roared, forced and angry. Who do you think you are? How dare you slander us? I'll sue you for defamation. Evan raised a single eyebrow, unfazed. He turned toward the director. Mark understood immediately. He cleared his throat and shouted to the crew. What are you all standing around for? Get the cameras rolling. This is a great scene. It'd be a shame not to capture it on film. Lights. Get some light on their faces. Yes, that's it. Give me that interrogation room look. The crew leapt into action. Powerful spotlights snapped on, illuminating my parents' and sisters' terrified expressions, leaving them frozen under the weight of exposure. Dex, the cameraman, hoisted his heavy rig onto his shoulder and leaned in close to my father. Sir, could you explain something for us? How do you search all night for your daughter and still keep your hair perfectly styled and your shoes spotless? Another crew member shoved a boom mic toward my mother. Ma'am, you say you were up all night, yet your makeup is flawless. What foundation do you use? Would you recommend it to our actresses? My parents were flustered, unable to answer. Karen, younger and more brittle, finally snapped. She pointed a trembling finger at Evan. You're invading our privacy. I'm calling the police. The police? Great idea. Evan smiled and, without hesitation, dialed 911, right there in front of them. Hello, police? This is the film set at the old reservoir. We found what appears to be an attempted murder, possibly tied to an insurance payout. The words, attempted murder, hit my mother like a physical blow, her knees nearly buckling. My father went green, his lips trembling. He snatched the phone from Evan and cut the call, forcing a smile that looked like a grimace. It was a misunderstanding, just a joke that got out of hand, he stammered. A joke. Evan's smile vanished, his voice cold. Kicking a child into a reservoir, that was a joke? Cold sweat beaded on my father's forehead. How did you know? Evan pointed casually to a stretch of hill overlooking the reservoir. We set up a high-definition night vision camera there for the night shoot, with audio. Every word, every move you made on that bank last night, we recorded it all. At that, whatever bravado remained drained from my parents. My mother fell to her knees, clawing at the director's leg. We were wrong. We weren't thinking, please don't expose us, please. My father dropped to his knees too, head bowed. We'll never do it again. We'll pay anything. Please delete the footage. Only Karen stayed standing, spitting venom at me. Anna, UB******H. How could you conspire with outsiders to ruin our family? You'll rot in hell for this. Smack. The sound of a slap snapped through the air. Faye had stepped out of the van and now stood before Karen, eyes ice cold. Watch your mouth. Say one more word to her, and I'll rip that tongue out of your head. Karen clutched her cheek, stunned. You hit me? Do you know who I am? Faye sneered. I don't care who you are, I like putting entitled brats in their place. Karen lunged, but my father gripped her arm, hissing for calm, desperate for the scene to end. Director Mark signaled for Dex to lower the camera and walked over to my parents, looking down at them. I can delete the video, he said. Their eyes lit up with relief, as if they'd been handed a lifeline. But, Mark continued, tone shifting, there's one condition. What condition? Name it, we'll agree to anything, my mother wailed.
Mark pointed at me.
From this day forward, this child is no longer under your care. You will not contact her, and you will not harm her. From now on, she is with us. My mother's expression changed in an instant, a look of pure joy blooming across her face. Yes, yes, of course, we promise. We'll never bother her again. To her, I was a burden, finally gone, and she could not hide her relief. My father nodded eagerly, terrified Mark might change his mind. Karen protested, hysterical. Dad, Mom, are you insane? What about the 3 million? What about my tuition? My father shot Karen a furious glare. What's more important, money or staying out of prison? Karen fell silent immediately. Mark pulled a pen and a piece of paper from his pocket and tossed them onto the table in front of my father. I don't trust your word. Write it down. A formal statement relinquishing all parental rights to Anna. From this day forward, her life and safety have nothing to do with you. Then I will delete the video in front of you. Without hesitation, my father snatched the pen and scribbled the statement. He pulled my mother over to add her thumbprint. When it was done, he looked at the director expectantly, not even glancing at me. Can you delete the video now? Mark took a USB drive from his pocket. With a flick of a lighter, he melted it until it was a useless blob of plastic. That was the only copy. Seeing the evidence destroyed, my parents let out a collective sigh of relief. They grabbed Karen and practically ran, like fugitives fleeing a haunted house. Watching them retreat, my heart felt frozen. A warm hand rested gently on my head. Faye knelt before me, brushing tears from my cheeks. Don't be afraid. We're your family now. Evan came over and draped his jacket over my shoulders. Come on, let's get you something good to eat. Dex quietly drove the van around. Director Mark, still stern-faced, tucked the handwritten statement into his pocket and muttered, "Raising a kid is such a damn hassle." Yet beneath the gruff tone, his eyes were red. That day, they took me from the reservoir to the best restaurant in the city. For the first time, I ate lobster larger than my face and drank sweet, fizzy juice. That evening, Faye took me shopping, filling a closet with beautiful new dresses and presenting me with a giant, soft teddy bear. I hugged it tight, lying in a plush hotel bed, feeling as if I were in a dream where I wouldn't be drowned, abandoned, or alone. The film's production had been delayed, so the crew stayed in the city longer. I was given a new identity, the director's distant niece and the crew's assistant. My tasks were simple, fetch coffee, run errands, but everyone treated me kindly. Faye cooked for me every day, and within a month, I finally had some color in my cheeks. Dex, the quiet cameraman, would slip me the sweetest fruits, and when he saw my mosquito bites, he returned the next day with the best insect repellent money could buy. Evan was a smug tease, calling me little stray, but he shared the expensive snacks his fans sent him and taught me how to play video games. Director Mark, though always grumbling about my clumsiness, spent hours patiently teaching me to read storyboards and set up camera shots. A girl needs to stand on her own 2 feet, he'd say. You can't rely on others forever. I took his words to heart. By day, I learned from the crew. By night, I studied in my hotel room. All my school books had been lost at the reservoir, so Evan downloaded the full curriculum onto his tablet. I was determined not to fall behind. Mark was right. I needed my own skills. This peaceful life continued for about 2 months. Then one evening, Faye's face went pale as she hung up the phone. She looked at me hesitantly. Anna, your parents are here. They're looking for you.
My heart sank. They had found me.
The statement, the promise, it had all been a trick to protect themselves. The next day, just as I feared, my parents and Karen stormed into the hotel where the crew was staying. They had brought a pack of news reporters. The moment my mother saw me, she rushed forward, throwing her arms around me, wailing. My baby girl, we finally found you. These kidnappers took you. You must have suffered so much. The reporters' cameras flashed like a storm. Karen shoved through the crowd, clutching my hand and sobbing for the cameras. My sister was brainwashed by these people. They won't let her come home. They are forcing her to work for them. Please, someone help us. My father jabbed an accusing finger at Director Mark. It was him. He tricked us into signing something. He is holding our daughter hostage. They are a gang. They are human traffickers. The hotel lobby turned into a theater, every head swiveling toward us. I watched my family perform their lies with a stomach full of molten rage. Mark's face went as dark as thunder. Evan laughed, but there was no humor in it, only disbelief. I've seen Shameless, but this is a whole new level, he said. Faye stepped in front of me, protective and cold, addressing my mother directly. Ma'am, you can't just say things like that. It was written down. You voluntarily gave up your parental rights. My mother leaped to her feet, pointing at Faye with fury. You little tramp, you seduced my daughter. You used violence to force us into signing that paper. We were coerced. A reporter shoved a mic into her face. Ma'am, are you claiming the film crew used illegal means to force you to relinquish custody of your daughter? Yes, that's exactly what happened. My mother wailed for the cameras. They saw how pretty our Anna is. They wanted to control her, force her into making indecent films. They are monsters. The accusation landed like a grenade. To call a film crew predators could destroy careers. Mark's anger broke through. He was barely audible. That's a baseless lie. My father, desperate, pulled a stack of photos from his bag and scattered them on the floor. The images were meant to frame a story. Me handing Evan a bottle, me carrying a makeup case, me sitting behind the monitor. Each shot was cropped and angled to suggest something sinister, to mislead. This is child labor. Look at this. My father croaked, spreading the pictures like damning evidence. The reporters, smelling a scandal, swarmed the crew with questions. Director, any comment? Mr. Hayes, as a public figure, were you involved in exploiting a minor? Evan's jaw tightened. A scandal like this could end him. Mark could barely speak. They had risked everything to save me, and now they were being painted as kidnappers and predators because of my family's lies. A knife twist of guilt curled in my gut. I had brought this on them, I thought. Looking at my parents' and Karen's triumphant faces, helpless rage and shame pooled together inside me. I broke free from Faye's protective hold and shouted at the reporters. No, they didn't trick me. I'm the one who refused to go home. Karen lunged and clamped a hand over my mouth, her face angled toward the cameras, performing concern. Anna, don't be scared. The reporters can't hurt you. Have they brainwashed you? She bent close and hissed into my ear, venom lacing each word. You can't win, Anna. Come home quietly, or I will destroy this film crew, and every single one of them. Her threat coiled around my heart like a viper. I looked from Mark's furious face, to Evan's clenched fists, to Faye's worried eyes. I could not let them be ruined because of me. I drew a breath that felt like a lifeline and shoved Karen away. Everyone stared in stunned silence as I suddenly dropped to my knees in front of my parents. Dad, Mom, I was wrong, I said softly, bowing my head as tears rolled down my cheeks. I shouldn't have run away. I shouldn't have made you worry. I'll come home with you. Shock flickered across my parents' faces. The reporters went quiet, caught off guard by my apparent surrender. Karen recovered first. She grabbed my arm and pulled me up with a dazzling smile for the cameras. Oh, good. My sister has finally come to her senses. My mother's crocodile tears returned as she hugged me tightly for the cameras. It's all right, as long as you're back. Mommy's not mad at you. But only I knew the truth. This was not surrender. This was strategy. I had to return to that hell to find the proof that they had tried to kill me. And then I would be the one to send them to a real hell. I caught Mark's eye and gave the smallest shake of my head. His expression was full of worry and confusion, but he stopped, and so did the others. Under the protection of flashing cameras and nosy reporters, I left the hotel with my family. The moment the car door closed, my mother's smile vanished. She slapped me hard across the face. You little brat. Think you're clever, finding people to help you. From the front seat, my father glared at me with eyes like knives. We'll deal with you when we get home. Karen sat beside me, smug and triumphant. She pulled out her phone and pressed play on a news clip of the hotel scene. See, sister? Now the whole world knows you're an ungrateful brat. And that film crew is finished. Their movie will never see daylight. She leaned in close, her voice low and poisonous. Oh, and I forgot to mention. That $3 million insurance policy expires next month. Which means you need to have an accident before then. So, what do you think? A fall from a high window? Or maybe electrocution? The city lights blurred past my window. My cheek burned from her slap, but my mind was cold and steady. In my heart, I spoke to Mark, Faye, Dex, and Evan. I'm sorry. And thank you. Please wait for me. Wait until I bring back the proof to put these monsters in prison. Then I will come back to you. I returned to the home I hadn't seen in 2 months. Nothing had changed. The house was still big, still cold. My room was still a windowless storage closet. The moment we stepped inside, my father shoved me into it and locked the door from the outside. Stay here and think about what you've done. You're not coming out until I say so. In the dark, I could hear Karen's delighted voice from the living room.
Mom, look.
Evan Hayes' fans are tearing him apart online. They're telling him to quit the entertainment industry. And that director, she squealed. They dug up all his old failures. Investors are pulling out. My mother laughed. Serves them right for meddling. Karen, hurry and pack. Your flight is the day after tomorrow. You can get settled in England. Karen asked, what about the money? My father's voice came next.
Don't worry.
Your mother has a plan. I pressed my ear to the door, straining to hear. My mother lowered her voice, but I could still make out her words. I've contacted someone. He knows how to make it look clean, like a real accident. And he knows people at the insurance company, so the payout is guaranteed. The only thing is, he's expensive. 50,000. There was a pause. My father replied, 50,000 is fine. As long as we get that 3 million, it's worth it. Karen asked, so when? The day you leave, my mother said. By the time your plane takes off, it'll all be over. Even if the police investigate, it won't trace back to you. My heart pounded. The day after tomorrow. They were going to kill me the day after tomorrow. I forced myself to think, to plan. Who was this man who could make it look clean? What kind of accident were they planning? And, most importantly, where was the proof? Then it hit me. The insurance policy. My father kept it in a hidden safe inside his study. He guarded it obsessively, not even letting my mother touch it. He always said it contained important company documents. I had seen him open it once, purely by accident. The combination was Karen's birthday. I had to get into that study. I spent a full day and night locked in the dark room. They gave me only one bowl of cold porridge. I ate every bite. I needed the strength. The next night, once I was sure the house had fallen silent, I made my move. I pulled a thin piece of wire from beneath my mattress. It had come from a snack pack Faye had given me, and I had hidden it away. I fed the wire into the keyhole, fumbling and trying to remember lockpicking tricks from movies. Sweat beaded on my forehead as minutes crawled by. Just as I began to lose hope, a faint click told me the lock had given. My chest swelled with relief as I eased the door open a crack. The living room was dark and still, the clock on the wall ticking like a quiet metronome. Barefoot, I crept into the study, moving like a cat. The curtains were closed, so I dared not switch on a light. I had to rely on memory. The secret compartment hid behind a row of leather-bound classics. My fingers found it and pushed, the shelf sliding sideways with a low groan to reveal a square safe. Kneeling, I typed Karen's birthday into the keypad. With a soft beep, the safe yielded. My heart pounded. Inside there were no company ledgers, only a few property deeds, some gold bars, and a manila envelope. I pulled the envelope free, squinting in the hallway light to read the cover. Personal accident insurance policy. Insured, Anna Thorne. Beneficiaries, Robert and Susan Thorne. Sum insured, $3 million. I clutched the document until my knuckles ached. A small USB drive lay beside it, and on impulse I slipped that into my pocket as well. Just as I was about to close the safe and slip away, a cold voice cut the dark. What are you doing? I nearly jumped out of my skin. I spun around. Karen stood in the doorway, arms folded, a cold smirk on her face. She had not been asleep. Well, Anna, she said, stepping in with a cruel smile. Learning new tricks, are we? Adding theft to your list of accomplishments. She picked up a heavy brass pen holder from the desk and toyed with it. I was wondering which would look most natural, an accident. Catching you stealing, a little scuffle, a fall from the study window, which would be more convincing. Through the glass, the 15th floor night spilled black and empty. I hugged the policy and the USB drive close, my mind racing. I could not overpower her. So I smiled, oddly calm and unsettling. Karen, do you know what's on this USB drive? She blinked, thrown off. What is it? Dad's secrets, I said, my voice low. I dangled the drive between my fingers. His company's finances and a second family, an apartment he bought for another woman's son, the transfers. It's all on there. Color leached from her face. You're lying. He would never. Would he? I tossed the USB drive onto the carpet. Open it, see for yourself. Imagine what Mom will do when she knows. Panic and possessive jealousy flickered across Karen's features. She hated sharing anything, especially money and attention. Her eyes locked on the drive. She hesitated. Now was my chance. I lunged, not at Karen, but past her, sprinting out of the study. "Anna, get back here," she shrieked, realizing she had been tricked. I did not run for the front door, it was locked. I ran for the kitchen instead. Karen was right behind me, the brass pen holder still clenched in her hand. "You can't escape," she hissed. The kitchen was small, a trap. She laughed, cruel and triumphant, and raised the pen holder. "Die," she cried. I shut my eyes, bracing for the blow. It never came. Instead, there was a loud clang and Karen's scream. I opened my eyes to see a cast-iron skillet on the floor, and Karen collapsed, a dark, bleeding wound on her forehead. My mother stood over her, the pan handle still in her grip, her hands shaking. She looked from Karen to me, eyes wide with terror. I didn't mean to. I thought it was a burglar," she stammered. My father barreled in, horrified. "Karen," he scooped her up, his face draining of color as blood poured from the wound and her breath came shallow. "We have to get her to a hospital. She is losing too much blood," he panicked, fumbling to lift her. My mother was hysterical, wailing. I watched them, my mind a cold, precise machine. This was the opening I had been waiting for. I slid the insurance policy from my pocket and held it up like a bargain. "Dad, Mom, let's make a deal," I said calmly. They blinked at me, stunned. "I don't have time for games. Karen needs a doctor," my father shouted. I raised the policy higher and put the choice plainly. Option 1, you call the police and say I attacked Karen. That will ruin you. This policy and the files on this USB drive will be on every front page by morning. You won't save her, and you'll all go to prison. Option 2, you let me go and you give me $1 million. I promise, the evidence never sees the light of day. My father's face tightened in fury, but Karen's weight in his arms weakened with every breath. I let the clock play its part. Or, I added, glancing at my watch, keep wasting time. Every minute you delay is another minute she bleeds. Time worked for me. My father ground out the words through clenched teeth. Go. Give her the money, but swear you will never use this to threaten us again. Deal, I said. My mother shrieked that we could not afford it, that we were insane. I looked at her, cold. You had $50,000 for the hitman. I'm sure you can find the rest. After all, your daughter's life is worth more than money, right? Seeing Karen's blood, my mother had no choice. She went to their room and returned with a bank card and every bill in the house. I took the cash and confirmed the card's PIN. Then I dropped the USB drive and a copy of the insurance policy on the table. The originals will be destroyed once I am safely out of the city, I said. Without looking back, I walked out of the house that had been my prison for 16 years. The sky was paling toward dawn, the air cool and new. I hailed a taxi straight to the airport and booked the first flight south. As the plane climbed and the city shrank beneath the clouds, I pressed my face into my hands and let the tears come. They were not for sorrow. They were release. By morning, Anna Thorne no longer existed. In her place, someone else began. The first thing I did after the plane landed was call Director Mark. The phone rang for a long time before he answered, his voice rough with irritation. Who is it? It's the middle of the night. Director, it's me. There was a pause. Then his voice, filled with disbelief. Anna? It's me. I'm out. I'm safe. You little brat. Where have you been? Do you have any idea how worried we've been? His voice cracked with emotion. The phone was snatched from his hand. It was Faye. Anna, are you okay? Did they hurt you? Hearing their familiar voices, I laughed through my tears. I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. Where are you? We're coming for you right now. I told them my location. After hanging up, I checked into a hotel, took a long, hot shower, and slept for what felt like an eternity. When I woke, the room was full. Mark, Faye, Dex, and Evan were all there. Seeing their concerned faces, the ice around my heart began to melt. I finally had a family again. I recounted everything that had happened. When I told them about my mother hitting Karen with a frying pan, Evan snorted, trying to stifle his laughter when Faye shot him a sharp look. Mark listened silently, then let out a long, heavy sigh. You've got guts, kid. I'll give you that. He pulled the handwritten statement from his pocket and handed it to me. You should keep this. Then he handed me a bank card. There's 50,000 on here. We all pitched in. The pin is your birthday. As for your parents, our lawyers will handle them. They won't bother you again. I stared at him, stunned. Director, I can't take this. Take it, he insisted. You're young, out on your own. You need money. When you're successful, you can pay us back. He's right, Faye added. We're family now, Anna. Don't be a stranger. Yeah, Evan chimed in, trying to look cool in his sunglasses. When you're a famous director, this will be pocket change. Just remember to give me a role in one of your movies. My eyes burned with fresh tears. I nodded, my voice thick. Okay. From that day on, I had a new name, Anna Marks. I took the director's last name. I traveled with the crew from city to city. While they filmed, I learned script supervising, lighting, camera work, editing. I was a sponge, soaking up everything about filmmaking. Mark was a tough teacher, ruthless in criticism but thorough in guidance. He said I was the most talented kid he had ever met. 2 years later, with Mark and Evan's help, I earned the highest entrance exam scores and was accepted into the country's top film school. The 4 of them drove me to campus, acting like proud parents sending their daughter off. Mark's eyes were red as he clapped me on the shoulder. Work hard. Don't embarrass me. Faye hugged me, sobbing. Call us. Let us know if you need anything. Dex silently handed me a huge bag of snacks. Evan, trying to look casual, said, If any jerks give you trouble, let me know. I'll handle them. I waved goodbye, but the moment I walked through the school gates, tears finally came. College was a whirlwind. I won every available scholarship. My student films received awards both domestically and abroad. I became a legend at the film school. After graduation, I turned down every major studio offer and returned to Mark's small, slightly run-down production office. Director, I said, let's make our own movie. He smiled. Okay. Our first feature was my script, about a girl who, after being hurt by her family, saves herself and steps into the light. It was my story. The budget was tiny. We poured everything we had into production. Besides Evan, the lead, the cast were new actors from the film school, working for almost nothing. The shoot was grueling, but everyone was full of passion. It was a good story. By spring, post-production was finished. We submitted the film to a prestigious national festival. Everyone was nervous, except me. I was strangely calm. The day of the awards, Mark called, his voice shaking with excitement. Anna, we won. Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. I could hear the crew cheering in the background. I smiled. Our little indie, the dark horse, had taken the industry by storm. With the film's success, I, the writer and director, was thrust into the spotlight. The media unearthed my past. Genius young director nearly murdered by her own parents. Demonic parents attempted insurance fraud by drowning their daughter. The frying pan incident, the true story of a carefully planned escape. The headlines were everywhere. I didn't answer. I knew the real show was only just beginning. Then one day, an unexpected call came from Karen. Her voice dripped with hatred and jealousy. Anna, you must be so proud. You've ruined our family. Are you happy now? What do you want? I asked, my voice steady. Dad and Mom want to see you. They say if you don't, they'll tell the media everything. They'll ruin you too.
Fine, I said.
Let them come. We met at a coffee shop near my studio. For the first time in years, I faced my so-called family. My father looked old, his hair mostly gray, and his eyes hollow. My mother had become a bitter, resentful woman, her face lined with anger. Karen surprised me most. A long, ugly scar ran from her forehead to her cheek, a permanent reminder of the frying pan. She was disfigured. The moment she saw me, my mother lunged, but my father held her back. He began his expression complex. Anna, we know you're successful now. We're not asking much. Give your sister money to fix that scar, find her a job, and we'll never bother you again. I laughed. And why would I do that? Because we're family, Karen screeched. You caused this. Family? I said. The moment you pushed me into that reservoir, we stopped being family. And your face, that was your mother's doing, not mine. My father cut in, fishing a USB drive from his bag and placing it on the table. This has a recording of you threatening us years ago. If you don't comply, We'll give it to the press. I smiled. Dad, have you forgotten what I do for a living? I pulled out my phone and hit play. The cafe filled with the recorded conversation, complete with their threats and demands for money. You recorded us? They gasped. Tit for tat, I said, pocketing my phone. I won't give you a penny. And some advice, stay out of my life. Next time, what I release won't be just an audio file. I walked away as their curses chased me. I thought that would end it, but I had misjudged their desperation. A few days later, a band of unwelcome men barged into my studio, led by my father. They were thugs, clutching clubs and pipes. Animarks, get out here, they bellowed. My staff froze with terror. Mark and Evan stood between them and me. Robert, what are you doing? Mark roared. My father sneered. She won't give me money? Fine, destroy her studio. Let's see her make movies after this. He gave the order. Smash it. The men attacked like wild dogs. Computers, cameras, the models we'd built, all smashed into ruins, and in turn collapsed in tears. Evan lunged to fight back, but was pinned by two men. Dex tried to shield a server and was struck in the back with a pipe, coughing up blood. My vision turned red. Stop. My father stepped toward me, his face alight with vengeful glee. Scared now?
Get on your knees and beg.
Give me $5 million, and I'll call them off. I stared at his crazed expression, at my ruined studio, at the injured Dex, and the restrained Evan. A fury I had never felt before roared through me. I smiled. Robert, did you really think I didn't have a backup plan? I pulled out my phone and dialed. Hello, Mr. Davis? You can proceed. My father blinked, then laughed. A lawyer? What can a lawyer do? This is just a civil dispute. Is it? I said, my voice dangerously calm. What about assault and battery? Conspiracy to commit assault? Those aren't criminal offenses. Before he could respond, the studio doors burst open. This time, uniformed police officers poured in. The lead officer approached my father and flashed his badge. Robert Thorne, you are under arrest for multiple counts of assault and fraud. My father froze. What assault? I didn't do anything. A familiar voice cut through the room. A man with a vicious scar across his face, leaning on a cane, stepped forward slowly. His eyes burned with hatred. Robert Thorne, do you remember me? My father's face went pale, and he sank to the floor as if he'd seen a ghost. You thought I was dead, didn't you? Thrown in the river after your men broke my legs, the scarred man sneered. I got lucky, and I've been searching for you ever since. He turned to the police. Officer, 5 years ago, he hired thugs to beat me half to death to avoid paying a $50,000 debt. I have proof. Then, one by one, others stepped forward from the crowd. Officer, I'm a victim too. He stole my investments. And me. He owes me back pay. My father stared in disbelief at the sudden flood of his creditors. My mother and Karen had already turned pale. The moment the police approached, the lead officer snapped a pair of metal handcuffs onto their wrists. Karen tried to flee, but she was stopped. Karen Thorne, you are under arrest for your role in insurance fraud. Please come with us. The whole family was rounded up, taken away together. As they were let out, my father glared at me. It was you. This was all you're doing. I met his gaze, calm and steady. I just returned the favor. An eye for an eye, I added. You taught me that, Dad.